All right, how's everybody doing today? Hotep, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecture writer, and historian. It is Saturday, April 9th, 2022. I want to let you know I just taught a great session of our 10-week online class, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And I sent out an email blast today because we're inviting people to join us in the class for free today. The 10-week online course is normally $60, was regularly $130. It's on sale now, $60, but we have the link here in the thread of the broadcast where you can watch today's class for free, okay? And we dealt with a lot of history today. We were dealing with the 1500s and 1600s. We dealt with we talked about Christopher Columbus. We dealt with the Asiento de Negros. We talked some about 1526, even before 1619. We dealt with a lot of history, Bartolome de las Casas, Christopher Columbus and his 4 voyages, the Spanish Inquisition. We talked some more about the history of the Moors as well. So we got into, we did a full 2 hours today, all right? But just very briefly here, this 10-week online class that I teach, we deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade. Of course, we talk about ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, the Nile Valley region of Africa, what this introduced to the world, and how the Moors take the teachings from ancient Kemet into Europe, and this brings Europe out of the Dark Ages, and we're going to see what leads to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We deal with the links between ancient Kemet and Freemasonry, okay? We know that the word Mason is derived from the Latin words mass and sun. Mason means child of light and expresses the desire to pursue light, which is a metaphor for the sun, which symbolizes knowledge. The term child of light or sons and daughters of light was first used to identify the students who had completed 42 years of study in the temples of ancient Kemet. Many Masonic temples were modeled after the temples of Kemet, places where light or knowledge was imparted in a series of steps or degrees. So we see the origins of the liberal arts colleges and the 7 liberal arts, the rhetoric and the arithmetic and the logic, different things like this that George G.M. James lays out in Stolen Legacy. Egypt on the Potomac by Tony Browder is one of the books that we reference in the class. You don't have to buy any of these books to follow along in class, okay? Masonic temples are considered houses of light or temples of learning. The term Mason or child of light is a direct reference to the highest degree of the Kemetic education system. The 33 degrees of the instruction within Freemasonry represent a fraction of the 360 degrees of instruction that comprise the ancient Kemetic mystery system of education. Yet with less than 10% of the wisdom from ancient Kemet, Freemasons have held positions of influence and power throughout the world for over 200 years. Read Egypt on the Potomac by Tony Browder's page 33. So we deal with some of the Neteru, and we deal with some of the history of ancient Kemet and Nile Valley region of Africa, and talk about Abyssinia, Ethiopia, and Ta-Nehisi, and Sudan, Nubia, things like this, and Ma'at, and the weighing of the scales, etc. And we go throughout history. We look at things like who the real St. Nicholas was, and how all this plays a role in history. You know, St. Nicholas originally was African, okay? We look at center class, that comes from, that's Dutch for St. Nicholas, and center class was a religious figure in the Netherlands and Holland, things like this. Center class had a sidekick named Joie de Piet, Black Pete, who was a Moor. Okay, who was a Moor, Joie de Piet, Black Pete. So we go through and we look at a timeline of history, also look at this history chronologically. We deal with the Immaculate Conception, the virgin birth, the Annunciation, the adoration, and where this comes from, coming out of ancient Kemet, going back thousands of years ago. Uh, Tony Browder deals with this in Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. Okay. We look at things like why December 25th, why Christmas is celebrated on December 25th, how this relates to other religions and crucified saviors, etc. All right. The pre-Christian origins of Christmas and the pre-Christian origins of Christmas, and we look at these different holidays, festivals of Mithra, the Roman festival of Saturnalia, German festival of Odin, who was a pagan deity, Odin, uh, and Yule. Yule was a celebration celebrated in Scandinavia amongst the Nordic people or the Norse or Vikings from December 21st through the end of January. So when you hear Christmas carols and they talk about Yuletide, Y-U-L-E, Yuletide, okay, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, all right, that goes back to Scandinavia, that goes back to the Vikings and things like this. So you see, when you study this history, you see how these different cultures collide. We deal with the film Black Panther, um, because the film Black Panther relates to African history and African culture, spiritual systems, language. We know the Panther deity of Bast comes from Bastet. Okay, Bastet was a Neteru or Neter for singular, I should say, a Neter coming out of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, who was a goddess worshipped in the form of a lioness and later a cat, goddess of warfare in Lower Kemet, worshipped as early as the Second Dynasty, 2890 BCE, before the Common Era. Okay, so we go throughout history. We look at uh, we go through and look at different elements of the film Black Panther, because the film Black Panther relates to African history and culture. And we know that the language spoken in the film Black Panther is isiXhosa. isiXhosa is a Bantu language. Bantu is a group of 500 African languages spoken in East Africa and going into Central Africa and going south as well. Okay. And the Bantu languages are spoken in a very large area, including most of Africa, from southern Cameroon, from southern Cameroon eastward to Kenya and southward to the southernmost tip of the continent. We also know that Kiswahili is a Bantu language as well. Okay, so Kwanzaa is a Bantu word. We know that the word Wakanda is a Native American term. Is a Bantu word also, but we see it in Native American languages, Omaha Ponca and Sioux Indian languages. All right, it means possesses secret powers. Possesses secret powers. So we talk about people like Hannibal Barca. Okay, uh, the great during the Punic Wars and the Battle of Cannae, 216 BC, and being defeated at the Battle of Zama, okay, in 202 BC as well. But we talk about Carthage in the Punic Wars, fighting against Rome. We deal with things like, okay, the defeat at the Battle of Zama, 202 BC. And these are all slides from the class. I'm just going through looking at a few things here. But we go through, look at a timeline of history. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and look at what the Moors take into Europe also. Okay. And we know that General Tariq ibn Ziyad goes into what was then called the Iberian Peninsula in 711 AD, August of 711 AD. And where they land is the huge mountain. They call it Jebel Tariq. Jebel Tariq. Today we call it Gibraltar, or the Rock of Gibraltar. This is named after the Moor Tariq ibn Ziyad. So we go through history and we see what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We look at Saint Maurice, who was a patron saint to Germany, who was a Moor as well. And we look at things like the national flags of Corsica and Sardinia that have African Moors heads on them, and why they have these African Moors heads on these national flags. We definitely have to look at Christopher Columbus and where Columbus went on his 4 voyages. Columbus helps to spread slavery, racism, capitalism, the exploitation of indigenous people. Okay, he never comes to the land that we call the United States of America. We talked about Columbus a lot in today's class to understand history, and I referenced Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism by Dr. John Henrik Clarke as well. So we looked at some information from that book also, okay? And then we go through and look at the doctrine of discovery of 1452, understanding what papal bulls are coming from the Catholic Church, the maps that we look at, et cetera. Okay, so this is a 10-week online class that I teach. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So the class is regularly $130. It's on sale $60. And once you register for the class, even after the 10-week online class is over with, and this time we're going to do at least 11 classes, but even after the 10-week online course is over with, you still have full access to the class. You can go back and watch it as many times as you want to. So we posted a link here where you could watch today's class for free. And then also you can, we also have the link here in the thread of the broadcast where you can register for the full course. It's on sale $60. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. On Sundays, I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And we go through and look at history starting in 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase. And we go through and look at Civil War, Reconstruction, 1865, 1877, Jim Crow era, Great Migration, World War I, World War II, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement. Okay, so you can register for that one as well. You can use this information with your children. I would say the information is PG-13. Okay, I would say it's PG-13. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, all that in the class. And then we have a bundle pack also. We could register for both classes for $100. That's a $260 value. If you've taken any of my online courses in the past, email me at 8hnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com. Email me at 8hnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com. You get a 50% discount. And you can also, if you want to give the courses as a gift for someone or something like that, you can do that as well. Okay, so you can join us in class, watch today's class, register for the full course. This type of information is going to blow your mind. And then is visual. We have tons of articles that we reference, over 50 articles that we reference. We have video clips, so it's very visual. Okay. All right. So hopefully you learned something today, and hopefully you like this type of information. Follow us here on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Turn on live notifications so you know when we go live. Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart as well. Follow us on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP, and turn on live notifications there, and on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Okay. We're celebrating our 12th year anniversary of me broadcasting the African History Network show. First started broadcasting March 3rd, 2010. So if you like this type of information, also you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. We have the information right on the homepage of our website. This is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it says Michael and shows my picture there. These other ones here are fake African History Network Cash App accounts. Okay, that's not us. This is our only Cash App account. We have the link here, and you can click on the yellow donate button for PayPal also if you want to support us as well. All right, so register for the class and listen to the African History Network show. We're on Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF here in Detroit. But you can watch us on Facebook and YouTube. We broadcast live there as well. You can also download the iHeartRadio app, search for the African History Network show, because audio podcasts of these various shows are there. And click on the link here. This takes you to our Blog Talk Radio page, blogtalkradio.com/the African History Network show. We're on 10 different audio podcast platforms: Facebook Podcasts, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Castbox, FM Player, TuneIn, Acast. So it's a number of different podcast platforms we're on. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.